Hello everybody, my name is Dradnos and welcome to part 5 of my guide to Outlaw Rogue. In this video we're going to take a look at some frequently asked questions that I get a lot about this spec. Okay, so the first question is, can you use a dagger in the offhand? Now of course you can't use a dagger in the main hand because that would prevent you from being able to use dispatch. That requires you to have a sword, an axe, or a fist weapon in your main hand to be used. But in the offhand, a dagger is perfectly fine actually. It's completely the same for most effects. For pretty much everything is normalized between daggers and non-daggers in the offhand. There are a couple of things where daggers behave a little bit differently, but those are actually slightly better for daggers than for non-daggers. That is, keep your wits about you is going to stack up a little bit faster in AoE if you have a dagger in your offhand, and the Jaina 2 set is going to proc a little bit more often if you're wearing that, and you have a dagger in your offhand. So, all things being equal, dagger is usually about the same in the offhand, sometimes even a little bit better. Your offhand should usually just be whichever piece is going to be your best stat stick, whether it's a dagger or not. Speaking of the Jaina 2 set, a question that I get a lot is, how good is the Jaina 2 set? The answer is pretty good, especially on single target. It usually does, like the 2 set does quite a bit of damage. The problem is that both the pieces, both the sword and the ring, have a lot of mastery on them, which is a pretty bad stat for us. It's our worst stat, worst secondary generally by quite a bit. The 2 set effect doesn't actually translate to AoE at all. It doesn't Blade Flurry, which usually means that in AoE you'd rather have pieces that just don't have mastery on them if you have those available to you at the same item level. But if your Jaina 2 set is higher item level than your other pieces, it's probably just good for all situations. And if it's not, it's probably at least good in single target, and you might want to swap it off for Mythic Plus. A similar question, how good is the Underrot Weapon, so the bile-stained Krog tusks? These are also pretty good, generally a little bit better than a weapon with stats on them on single target. But again, this doesn't translate to AoE, it doesn't Blade Flurry at all. So in Mythic Plus, you're usually going to want to have a weapon with stats instead. Another question I get a lot is, should I enchant one of my weapons with the Gale-Force Striking enchant, which is a proc that sometimes increases your attack speed? This one is actually often good, because it does also translate to increased AoE damage with Blade Flurry. It's also good in M+, as well as in single target. And this is something that you should simulate to know for sure. Usually, what I would do is I would simulate Quick Navigation, Deadly Navigation, Versatile Navigation, and Gale-Force Striking. Simulate all those enchants on both of your weapons. But usually I do find that Gale-Force Striking is one of the 2 that ends up getting enchanted on one of your weapons. Alright, for this next question, I'm going to explain in thorough detail exactly how Blade Flurry works, because I get a lot of different questions about this, a lot of different specifics about Blade Flurry, and I want to try and kind of address them all at once. So here's a little example picture that I took from the training dummies. The way that Blade Flurry works is that it's a circle around you based on your melee attack range. That's normally 5 yards. It's 8 yards, though, if you've talented into acrobatic strikes, which you should, and this is part of the reason why you should. And basically, you attack your target wherever, as long as you can hit your target and you successfully hit your target and you have Blade Flurry turned on, you're then going to flurry the damage to everything in that circle around you. So that means that you can, like, if you see in this picture right now, I'm between the eyesing a training dummy that's very far away and way outside of Blade Flurry range, but I'm flurrying onto all these training dummies that are next to me. So your flurry cares about what's near you, not what's near your target. Between the eyes and pistol shot do Blade Flurry, and this does mean in Mythic Plus you can get a little bit of extra damage if there's one target that's outside of the group and you have your flurry turned on. Just whenever you have a pistol shot or between the eyes in your rotation, if you hit that target that's away from you, you'll flurry onto an extra target that way. So that's a useful little tip to optimize a tiny bit of damage. But yeah, that's basically how Blade Flurry works exactly. Okay, so this question is designed to clear up some confusion that I think largely stems from a difference between how Legion worked and how it works for us now in Battle for Azeroth. The question is, I have 4 combo points, no pistol shot procs, no broadsides buff active. What do I do? And again, this is covered in the single target portion of this guide, but I get asked it enough that I wanted to put it in the FAQ as well here. The answer is you're supposed to Sinister Strike. Yes, that means that if your Sinister Strike hits twice, you're going to waste a combo point, but it's better to run that risk than to waste the energy here by using a finisher early. Okay, this next question also comes in a lot of different forms. People ask, does my reroll logic change during Bloodlust, during my opener, during Adrenaline Rush? Should I delay my Adrenaline Rush for when Bloodlust is over so I don't overcap energy? Should I do all sorts of weird things to make sure that I don't overcap energy during either of these effects? The answer in pretty much all cases is no. Don't do anything differently. If you overcap energy a little bit during your Bloodlust or your Adrenaline Rush, that's fine. It's still worth just pressing your buttons like normal pretty much. And then here's another piece of confusion that comes from how the Keep Your Wits About You trait is worded. Sometimes people ask me, should you put Blade Flurry on single target? The answer is no. You don't gain any wit stacks from one target with Blade Flurry turned on. Wits only stacks up when your Blade Flurry is doing damage, and your Blade Flurry only does damage to not your primary target, right? It only does damage to the other targets in that circle around you. So turning on Blade Flurry on single target with a witch trait does absolutely nothing. It just incinerates 15 of your energy and one of your globals. So not worth doing, no. Thanks for watching this final part to my Outlaw guide. If you enjoyed it, you might enjoy some other content on my channel, particularly the rest of this guide. Please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it if you did. And also, if you have any questions that I didn't get to in this video, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Also, I do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dratnos, so throw me a follow there and sometime you can catch me when I'm live. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.